Welcome, everyone. Yes, here we are. This is our week. We are back. Badass Us. Yes, that's right. That's who we are. Badass Us. Real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And tonight is all about community speaks. Yes, community speaks. And we're going to be engaged. We're going to be just informative. And we have a special guest. You have to stay tuned. So, yes, who are we? We badass us. We are women, beautiful, accomplished, and divine. Our gentlemen, our brothers, accomplished and determined. As society see us, we must still change the narrative. And yes, we're going to be intentional and up close and impersonal with our community. So badass us. Yes, that's right. That's who we are. Badass us. Real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. We be right back at you. See you on the other side. Badass us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. Badass us. What? Who are we? We are women. Beautiful, accomplished, and divine. That's right. Badass us. Yeah. Who are we? We are gentlemen. Are our brothers, accomplished and determined. Yet, as society see us, we must still change the narrative. Yeah, that's right. Who are we? The black community. Remember us? We are accomplished. We are determined. We are divine. We are of greatness. That's right. The black community. Badass us. Who are we? That's right. Who am I? I am the person committed to building the next community movement. What about you? Yes, welcome back to Badass Us. That's right, that's who we are. Badass Us. Real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And tonight we have a wonderful show for you. Again, just hold on to your heels. We just want to dive on in. And I must introduce my co host, Rasheen. Why? Yay! And Rasheen, I'm going to let you do the honors of introducing our guest because this is your special guest for tonight.
Yes. So we have Crystal Ariata. She's executive director of PG Changemakers. Crystal, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about Prince George's Changemakers and how it all came.
Well, one, thank you both for having me. Anytime I get to sit with these wonderful people, I'm excited. It's not nothing work, but just fun. So I'm looking forward to a fun conversation that's also informative. So as you mentioned, I'm Crystal Orietta. I serve as the executive director of PG Changemakers, and we're a grassroots organization that was founded after the murder of George Floyd. We're about 2 years old, and we're all about breaking down systems of racism and oppression in our communities while creating a voice for the community to amplify what it wants to see done. And we're really excited about the journey that we're on. And we've raised a little under $1 million that we're excited about putting all in Prince George's County and all at the fingertips of the community and what they want to see done. So we're excited about the journey we're on.
Wow, this is great. This is great. So we're gonna jump right into it. This is your show tonight. So I'm gonna let you run it and then let's have some fun with it. Let me see what you can do. What you made of over there? Look, Crystal, let's mess with her. What you made of over there? Can you handle us two women tonight?
Oh man, I can handle more than two.
Well, look, we got another Crystal in here, and both of their names start with a K.
Hey, bring it on. go.
So that's 3 Ks in here tonight.
3 Ks.
Yeah.
Triple K.
Yeah, the triple threat.
Triple
So,
threat.
Yeah, you ready for that?
Always.
And I know you are too. So go ahead. We're gonna let you run the show tonight.
So, Crystal, you talked about the catalyst being George Floyd of why PG Changemakers started. Tell us a little bit about what was the process. George Floyd happened, and then what was the spark?
Yeah, so after George Floyd, like so many people, we were just tired, right? We had all just seen so many people that to us look like our brothers and our sisters and our fathers just dying. And we had been going to DC and Baltimore and organizing, but we felt like there was a place in our own backyard we should be doing this work. We shouldn't have to go to another community and advocate. We should say, what are we going to do in our own communities to spark change? And so a lot of us had been organizing together in some way, shape, or form. The other co-founder, Amity Pope, we had known each other for years and had been advocating around education together. And we just said, we're going to start doing rallies and we're going to start marching for the people that we had lost in our own communities and start asking for demands for reform in our own communities. And so we didn't have a name or even the thought of being an organization. We were just a group of people that wanted to do something in our own backyard, to be part of this moment in time, which was Black Lives Matter. And we said we could do something in our own community. We didn't have to just like join someone else's, and that was kind of the birth of us.
And I like that because that's what it's all about. For me, what is the importance of nonprofit organizations or coalitions in our community? And that's where they usually start. It starts from the passion and the purpose that you have to want to, just further enrich our community. Yeah. And so, and just from what you're saying, that's the importance, for you all is to make sure that we're taking care of home base. It was great that our eyes was open, but it's about making sure we take care of home as well. And with most nonprofit organizations, it is a passion. It comes from a passionate place first. I just think that's the importance of making sure that we have nonprofit organization because the people, the founders, the members, the organization, the volunteer, it's a connection there of what that purpose and passion is all together. So that's what I think the importance of nonprofit organization. What you think about coalitions and nonprofits?
Yeah, I think nonprofit organizations are really important, especially in the cases of like PG Changemakers, because basically you are a community advocacy organization. Now, do you all go out and help and train members of the community and empowering them? Yeah,
that's a key part of it. So we're really excited. We launched our fellowship program, which is catering to youth 15 to 19, and where every fellow or young person gets $2,000 to join our fellowship. And then it's all about giving them the tools and resources that they need to be advocates for themselves. So for us, it's about training up that next generation and passing the baton to other organizers and giving even like the older people like myself that want to advocate and join the movement.
Wait a minute, what older people like herself?
Well, I'm not 19, so I'm older now.
Baby.
Yeah, still baby. But it's what we do is say, if you have an idea, if you have an issue that's important to you, then we create the space and help you build a coalition. One of our campaigns around universal basic income was just that. One of our members said they're really passionate about creating a space for universal basic income. And so we said, okay, how do we do this here? We looked at places around the country that have it. We put in resources to build a campaign. We're working on them with them on how to like research policy and develop it, but it's theirs. It's not like we're taking it and we're going to lead it. We say, let's help you amplify this cause that's important to you. And I think that's the important thing about our coalition, which makes us different, is that we're not taking ideas and thinking we should lead them. It's more about how do we create the space for communities to lead these charges themselves.
And so you mentioned that you all have a fellowship program and where you're training, and you're also giving people a stipend. Is this like a monthly stipend that they'll receive as being a part of the program?
It's a total stipend, so they'll receive it probably one in the beginning and one at the end, and it's for whatever they want. It doesn't have to go to college because that's not what every young person's gonna do. So it's whatever they need and whatever they would like to spend it on and investing in their future. And we're big on that, like paying people, for their time, and because we know that's a big thing. Because in a lot of these spaces, where it tends to not be people that look like us in these roles and volunteering, because we're working so many jobs and we're trying to take care of our home. You need to be able to have extra time. It's not that our people don't care about it, but it's having extra time to invest in it. So we're mindful of that when we can give those resources to assist our young people. So if they're not working, that they're at least getting something to help them if they need that for their family.
So if I'm a 60-year-old senior and I'm passionate about my community, but I'm retired, but I want to make some change, can I be a part of PG Changemakers?
Yeah, every age is welcome to PG Changemakers, and we have, like I said, from 15 to retired, 60 plus members of our organization. And so you can join a committee that exists, join a campaign that exists. And if there's something that you're passionate about that you don't see at the table, then you can come say, hey, I would like to create this in my community, and we'll do our best to help create the resources to make that possible.
So what are some of the things that you look for, and then what makes, what is expected of a good leader that's behind the organization? Because I know that you are the executive director, and so that's usually the first person in command, but, as we build these organizations, because sometimes we start these organizations and then they just stay dormant.
Yeah.
They don't move, and it just sounds like just in the short period of time, the organization has been able to grow. So we need to understand and be able to get little tidbits of what makes, for good leaders behind the organization, because we know that most of the time it come out of passion or purpose, and then, so to continue to keep moving it forward, I think it's definitely about the leadership that is behind the organization.
Yeah, it's so true. When I think about like a good leader, I think about what you said first, like having the passion and drive for whatever you're doing. I think that's key because it's thankless, and sometimes you're not getting paid, especially in the nonprofit sector. We were 100% volunteer based until I stepped in as executive director. So all the time, my other co-founder, and every volunteer put in was just time and energy we decided to put in. We didn't get anything for it. So I would say passionate. And I think the best leader checks their ego at the door. I always say that. I do not pretend to be the smartest person in the room. I actually don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to surround myself with people that think differently, that are smarter in different capacities and areas than myself. Compassionate. I think the best leaders know when their team needs a break, it needs space. I've worked in spaces where people push and push and push and just expect more. Like it's all about like efficiency. But I think the best leaders understand that for your team to deliver the best results is that they also need self-care. They also need time to relax. They also need to take a break. They also need to be fed spiritually and emotionally. And I think a good leader invests in that. So we have invested in like time for self-care, time to relax. If someone wants to step back, they have the space to step back and someone can fill the position for them. I think that's important for a leader. And then always growing and always learning. I think any leader that thinks that they don't have anything to learn is going to fail. I think every leader has to realize there's something they don't know, something they're not good at, something that they need, some skill they should acquire. And so you always need to be a space of evolving and learning.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's a lot of people who have that passion that really want to start their organizations. And you mentioned your fellowship program and actually offering folks resources to actually create their ideas and run the program. Now, a lot of advocates, they go into the community, their passion, they show up at these meetings, they start a nonprofit organization, but they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, raising money through family and friends. How were you able to get funding for to actually do a fellowship program? What went on with that? Because the whole notion is that nonprofits are broke. And it's hard to get money for nonprofits.
It is.
So tell us a little bit about I'm passionate. I care
Yeah.
about my community. I start a nonprofit organization. Where do I go from there?
Yeah, that's such a good question because we were there. We were, everyone put, money in the Cash App so we could do this activity. And because we weren't officially a 501c3, we weren't operating, we were just operating as a community group, which so many like organizers do. They create like a group in their community and they're just moving. They haven't really thought about the financial part of it. We were just lucky enough that, the work that we have done really caught the attention of some funders and they were willing to, fund our work. And what I'll say too, and this is a double-edged sword, like I am someone that believes in decolonizing the nonprofit sector. I really don't believe in it being a quote unquote moneymaker, because I feel like what happens sometimes is then when the foundations and funders decide to move on to a different topic area, they pull out of a community and they suck up all the resources and then you can't do any of the work because this was a job for someone and they need a job. And so we function in two parts. I do also believe though you need resources, right? And you need to pay people for their time. So I would recommend for anyone starting an organization is to build it on where if you didn't have any resources, you could survive. And so you have to figure out what does partnership look like with other organizations that have a lot of funding. Because at first we partnered with organizations that had paid staff and they had capacity. So we don't have to do those things. We're like, Progressive Maryland has been a great partner. Life After Release has been a great partner. And they had funding and staff. So I say lean into organizations that already have funding and have staff. And then research different foundations and organizations that do general operating funds. Those are the best types of funds you can get because it allows you the flexibility to do the work. You're not pigeonholed to one type of program, which is the only funding that we have as an organization. And then lastly, which is what we did and what we're doing now is we launched Grassroots Made, which is a clothing company brand, because our idea and our goal is to create our own revenue for ourselves. So what I'm wearing now, Salty, is part of our brand Grassroots Made. And so all the proceeds go into PG Changemakers. And so if you can create some type of revenue for your organization that allows you not to wait for funders, not to be beholden to your own pockets, but allows you to create a product, and people love their money and their morals to align. And so you can brand yourself as, everyone knows that 50% of all our proceeds go to grassroots Black-led nonprofits. Our goal is down the line for all the money not even to go to us, for us to be able to fund other nonprofits like ourselves to get off the ground as well.
And if someone wanted a Salty shirt, because I'm feeling salty because I don't have that shirt. What does Salty stand for, and where can some people in our viewing audience go and pick up a shirt?
And it have Matthew's 5:13 on there.
Yeah. So a lot of people think, oh, salty, like, oh, don't be salty. But really it has like a deeper meaning of like salt of the earth. And that we are the salt of the earth, and like when you wear it and who you are and like in this work. And so that's why Matthew's is there. So like a lot of people think it's like the trendy salty, but it really has like a deeper meaning for us. And all of our shirts are like that. Like with Stand With Black Women, Living With Black History, Couldn't Wipe This Black Off If I Tried. So all of our what we call swag is stuff you would wear in the movement, and you can find it at www.grassrootsmade.com. And if you buy something, you just know you're supporting the movement 100%.
We had a young lady here named Lynetta, and she got this book out, and it's called Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. And she is a young lady that I definitely want to push it to organizations like yourself. So we are on a campaign for her for the month of March, Women History Month. And we want to be able to get 100 of her books and give them back to the youth. And she's going to do a workshop to show them how to use this workbook. And so I'm calling on you. I'm challenging you and the organization to purchase some of these books and help her reach her goal and be able to give back to the youth. Because basically with nonprofit, as you said earlier, that's what it's all about. It's about us connecting with one another and helping each other out. And I love the fact that you said that half of the time we're just operating on purpose. And at first we just a group,
Yep.
and before we even realize it's a nonprofit, because I always hear people, much as I do for they was like, oh, nonprofit class effort. I was like, no, we not nonprofit. And so everybody always see that when you're being a philanthropist and giving of yourself and giving back. So it's a wonderful thing that we do, and we have to stay really connected with one another, and just help each other out to move to the next level. So, with Community as Priority Group is just a group of us. We are just entrepreneurs who have our own business, and we just come, like you say, just pour money into the organization for we can go back and feed the community and just feed each other. But we definitely need to make more efforts of, like you said, just making sure we connect with other organizations that's out here. And I heard you name several. So just, as we get ready to go to commercial break, just tell us the importance of building, how, togetherness, you can reach further ground than you can standing alone.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. Like, even PG Changemakers, we operate as a coalition. So people can join as individuals or they can join as part of an organization. And then we sit on a lot of different committees, like a housing coalition or a justice task force, because there's so much work to be done and not one organization can do it. And so you have to lean into each other, and there's enough room for everyone. That's a big thing for us. In the nonprofit world, I realize it's just as competitive as the business world, sadly, because people are competing for the same grants. But we operate in a space of everyone's welcome. We want we realize that there's work that other people have been doing longer than us, and we are mindful and respectful of the organizations that come before us and leaning into them and not wanting to, step into their territory. So we've just learned that. But I think coalition's the only way to do it. The only way to transform our communities is by all of us coming together and not being siloed or torn apart or competing, but building.
Yes, we're great. So, guys, I tell you, we have to go to this first break, and you're hearing it here first on Community Speaks. This is a great thing. And who are we? We Badass Us. Can you hear this? Badass Us here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. See you on the other side.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources.
What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Ward 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the support that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-5000 or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
Yes, welcome back to Badass Us. Yes, that's right. That's who we are. Badass Us Real Talk. And we've been having a conversation about organizations versus coalitions, so you broke it down so well. And, Rasheen, this is just great. I mean, the best guest ever, right? So, as we dive even more into it, we know organizations and coalitions, they are formed to just be a better part of enhancing our community and getting us to come together to continue to grow the communities, especially, the undeserved communities where it tends to seem to be overlooked at times. And it's definitely diamonds and jewels right there in the community. And I love Salty, and I love what it stands for. So, but I'm with Rashim. How can we get down if the residents want to be more engaging and get involved? What would you tell a resident who's concerned about their neighborhood and just want to, just have their voice to be heard? Because one of the things I heard you say earlier in your message, that you want to be a positive voice for the community. And a lot of times these neighborhoods, the residents in these neighborhoods that we know of, their voice is not getting heard, and this is part of why this platform here is created, because we want to be a positive voice for the community. So what would you tell that resident that want to be more involved and just have concerns about their neighborhood?
Yeah, there's a few ways I think to get involved. I think like that lowest hanging fruit is always seeing if your community has a civic association in your community, an HOA. They tend to usually be really active about really local issues happening in your community. I think getting involved in your local politics is really important, because that is where you see when we talk about roads, construction, we talk about development. I think that's a key place for you to get involved and make sure your voice is heard. And then obviously organizations like PG Changemakers, getting involved and joining organizations where you feel like their mission and their vision aligns with what you want to see change in your community. And even going on platforms like Nextdoor. I know Amity, one of the co-founders, she created a group that's specifically about trash in her community on Nextdoor. And I think they have like over 100 members that communicate. They have meetings, they have like an email chain, like they are very organized. And it just started from Nextdoor, getting on this space and talking about what was happening in their community. So I think trying those different platforms, reaching out to see if there's any local civic associations or HOAs, researching the other community-based organizations in your community like PG Changemakers or Life After Release or Progressive Maryland, and seeing if they align with you. And then just coming to one of those monthly meetings that usually all these organizations have, and seeing if whatever they're talking about really taps into what you want to do and what you want to work on.
Yeah, I mean, and that's great. And I'm glad you all are doing that work. And you all have been around since George Floyd got murdered. Tell us a little bit about some of your wins, some of your successes, and, and how did you get your first win? And what did that feel like as an organization when you got that first win?
Yeah, so it's exhilarating, but then it's like, then the next moment you're like, oh, there's more to do. This is just one chip at the system. So when I feel like some of our first wins were around some of the legislation, like the repeal of Officer Bill of Rights. For some people that don't know what that is, it's just basically law enforcement having more rights than an average citizen when they do commit a crime, and ensuring that they're able to be held accountable. The removal of our former chief of police, holding them accountable for some murders that happened on his watch. And
tell us a little bit about that, because that's interesting. He wasn't a beloved chief of police. Many people criticized him. In majority black Prince George's County, many people ask, now why do we have a white police chief? But tell us a little bit more about how that came to be and how you were able to get rid of them. Because, it's an example that, a lot of our residents across the county, see people in power that they may not agree with and may not feel as though they're the best fit.
Yeah.
So, kind of walk us through, like, how were you able to get rid of a police chief who's a very powerful figure?
Yeah, exactly. Coalition, going back to that, it was multiple organizations that we all kind of had one band, one sound. Like this was across the board and asked for all of these different organizations that came to the table. So we started with rallies. We had rallies at different police districts around the county. We picked them based on an incident. If an incident happened with an officer at that specific precinct, that was what we targeted. And we made our demands clear at every single one. And then we launched a petition where we got, thousands of residents to sign after you explain what has happened. And then we always say, even if this person didn't do it, they're at the top, and the leader at the top has to take responsibility for what happens on their watch. And I think that continued pressure was the catalyst. It was those two things. It was us getting as many just individual residents to tap in, to sign this petition, to be educated on why this is important, doing town halls, coffee chats, educational sessions, because a lot of people just didn't know even what was happening. And then, keeping the pressure on with demonstrations, and then ensuring that it wasn't just our group. It was so many organizations all saying, we want the same thing. And I think that's really what led to that. And I think that's with any power dynamic. If you want to remove someone that's sitting in power, that's the recipe of doing it. You have to educate and mobilize as many people as possible. Then you have to put as much pressure publicly as possible. And then you have to make your demands clear. And you have to have as many power players and voices at the table saying they want the exact same thing. Because if you're just the one outlier asking for that, it's hard to get it. But if, there's 20 organizations at the table and 15 are saying, we all want that, we all agree on that one thing, you're more likely to get it.
Were people intimidated? Because it is the police. Were people, did you come across, police intimidation at all? Or, the coalition, members of the coalition, were they fearful for retaliation from the police? Because, we see it in the different movies. And then we read about it in other parts of the country to where police, or even other countries where the police can retaliate, if, they're held accountable.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And it's a real fear that, you have every time you come out. We did have an incident once where, an officer, crossed the line in his behavior at a rally. I would say most of the officers, because we had someone that was our point person. It was a liaison, because that was big for us, to do our best to make sure that, our protests and our demonstrations were as peaceful as possible, that everyone could go home, and safely. And so we had a liaison. And so a lot of the officers that manned our protests and rallies were respectful. But you're always going to have those outliers. And then I think one of the scariest things when we were doing our rallies actually came from a community member. We were doing a rally in Hyattsville, and we put flyers up like we tend to do. And so we have our numbers always, myself and the other co-founder, Amity, we put our actual cell phone numbers, because if people have questions, they want to reach us. And we hadn't really thought the opposite of what could happen. And we had someone calling us and, threatening us, and, had to even get a restraining order on someone. And so about not wanting this in their community, not wanting us in their community. So you are scared because you never know what's going to happen. I've done protests, not in this capacity, but I've done protests where I've been spit on and rocks thrown at me, because I've been, protesting for a long time. And you just never know what you're walking into. But I believe in this work, and you are willing to put your freedom, your life, and your body on the line when you're doing this work, because you never know what could happen.
But one good thing that you said and that came out of this too is the community wants to be more involved, and they want to do it, and you're showing strength in numbers, and like you said, when you all come on the same accord, then your voice get heard better, and sound the positive protesting, being informative, have an education about the subject matter that you want to reach. And the other great thing I heard you say is definitely making sure that we as residents get more involved with our local elections. So with that being said, where I'm going. Yes, I like the fact that that you are a fighter just for our community. You have a pure heart for that. It's in you. Anybody to know that this is just naturally who you are. And it takes great residents and great fighters and leaders like yourself that now even want to step in a ring and just come on over to the political side. So and that's where I first met you. when you was running for office for county council. And now you're throwing your hat in the ring again for county council here in Prince George's County. So just tell us a little bit about that in this District 7, right? And I know we are going through this whole big thing of redistricting and all this craziness. I have my own thought on that.
Same.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you know, I definitely want to make sure that I give you a chance to just show the whole around this and involvement of yourself, not just through the organization and coalition, but as a, you know, just a resident, you know, a citizen, want to now say politically, I want to keep things correct as well.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I'm running for county council here in Prince George's County for District 7, and this will be my second bid for the seat. When I ran last cycle, I fell short by 30 votes. So don't think your vote doesn't count. Every vote does count. I can't stress that enough. But I really decided to run. If I'm being really honest, that moment I decided to run was when Trump was elected president. It's like I said to myself, if this man could be president of the United States, I could do anything. And that I was putting myself in the box, and I needed to walk through the world as this white heterosexual man that believes he could do anything, because I've decided that I had limitations. No one else. I decided that I wasn't worthy, or I wasn't smart enough, or I couldn't have something. And I was lacking the confidence to put myself out there and say I was worthy and able and competent enough to hold this office. And so the moment I invested in myself, I started my campaign, and it's scary, but I think even losing it, I didn't take it as a loss. I took it as me growing, me learning, me expanding, me pushing the issues that are important to me, getting candidates to talk about things I don't think they would have talked about if I had not run for office. And then me deciding to run again goes back to the heart of the issue. I am firmly believe in more organized community-based leadership. And if I don't see that, I feel like it's my duty to step in. I can't wait for someone else. Because a lot of times it's like, why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing this? Well, then why am I not doing this? And if I feel like something's missing, then I should be willing and able to fill in that gap. And that's why I decided to run again. And I feel confident about that. But I think what I feel most confident about is this quote I go by, but greatness is not a measure of who you are, but the impact you have on others. And I want to be great. I feel really competent and excited and energized around the fact that we are building greatness. That's what my campaign is about. It's not about me. It's about what we as a community can do. I'll never forget what my mom told me when I got frustrated on the campaign trail this time. She said, this has nothing to do with you. This campaign is not about you.
Yes.
This campaign is what God can do through you. And it has centered me, because I feel like there's a calling on my life to be a walking testimony of compassion and love. I firmly believe that. And I think what's most lacking right now in politics is compassion. When you're writing and policing policy, is understanding that everything you do has an impact. And when you start to center the least of us, all of us can thrive, and all of us can be successful, and all of us can have and achieve things. But I think so many people are focused on continue to build up those that have and forgetting those that don't have. And that's fundamental to me.
Well, I just wanted to say this before Rasheen jump in, is that, you know, I just remember just going through a moment, just doing this whole media realm. I was just sharing with you before we came on air that I'm celebrating I'm celebrating 10 years of being in media and 2 years at a magazine. And I just remember just saying, you know, when we are just at a place and God have us in a place and you know that he got you right there, you know, so sometimes, you know, things going to step in to sidetrack you, but you got to stay the course and stay focused. And, you know, and I was just saying this in so many words, and that even if, you know, at that time it don't look like you're succeeding in the plan that you know that is designed for you, you still have to persevere and go forward. And I go to church that Sunday, and my pastor spoke on failure still have purpose. So I want you to believe in that and know that failure still have purpose, because you know what, we learn from it, we grow from it, and it makes us stronger. So you're going to be a better person from it. And I like how you said that even in your loss that you knew that your purpose was still done. And I like even the fact that you know that greatness is in you, and greatness in all of us. We all have greatness, and our greatness is in when our skill set and our talent lie. So if I can't say nothing else, you know, because Matthew's 5:13 keeps sticking out at me. So yeah, I had to take that moment. All right, it was all about the women right there, Rasheen. I'm sorry, it was just all about us.
You're good.
Yes.
You're good. But that's great. I mean, you gave a perfectly good explanation of your purpose and why you wanted to run for office. For those in our viewing audience who may be watching, who are watching now, who may watch later, what should they think about if they say, I want to run for office too because I want to make a change? What are some of the things, some important things that they need to think about before they actually pull the trigger?
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a good one. No life. No. It is a huge sacrifice.
Yes.
I will say that. You give up 6 months to a year of your life if you're serious about it. I campaign every single day. I knock doors every single day. I think what I would say is, one, your willingness to sacrifice your time, willingness to sacrifice your privacy, because when you run, people feel like they have a certain level of access to you, who you are, your life, what you do. And so you have to be open to that. And you have to be open to criticism about the simplest things, how you dress, how you speak, your hair as women, your weight, your size. There's so many things. And you might think they're trivial, and it's hurtful at times, but that tough skin around being able to hear it, and even from your team, because depending on what office you're running for, it's someone's job to literally strip you down and critique you, to tell you the things that a voter is going to see this, and they're not going to see your platform. They're looking at your hair, they're distracted by your clothes, so they're going to tell you the things you need to change to make you more presentable. And so that's just something you have to understand. You have to be willing to fundraise and understand that it's very expensive to run for office. I wish it wasn't. You know, we've been advocating for public financing. Hopefully it will be fully funded to make it not such a hurdle financially, but it is a sacrifice. And so even if you don't have money, I don't ever want to deter someone from running because they don't have money, but losing that fear of asking for money and feeling like you're worth money, and that fear of who's going to invest in me, that needs to go away. You have to be willing to ask, and know that you're worth the investment, because people aren't investing in you, they're investing in themselves by investing through you.
I like that.
Yeah, that's something my mom had to tell me, because I hate asking for money. And then I think to make sure you understand why you want to be elected. And make sure it's honest and make sure it's pure, because the other side of once you're elected is if you get there, and then it's tested. Then that's when people come to you and they offer you things and they want to negotiate. And politics is negotiation. I get that. You know, you don't want to be naive. You're never going to be able to get everything you want. You're going to have to give and take. But what's your lines? What's your hard lines? What's your values? What's your integrity? Like, making sure you hold on and understand that before you enter the arena, so you know what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to be flexible on, and what you're not willing to sacrifice, and what you're not willing to be flexible on, because that's important into running. But more important, it's when you get in office, who you're going to be.
I like that. So, you know, and you just gave a great summary of what is what integrity. You know, you got to have integrity and stand your grounds. And most of the time when people are running, it's because of that. They want to make a change. They want to see a difference. And you said all these things, and don't lose yourself and know your self-worth. You know, when you're doing this, and these are all great things that you're giving us. You're giving us such a great nuggets tonight. We don't want this show to ever end, But we got to take another break. So guys, we are here, and yes, this is who we are. Badass Us, Badass Us, Real Talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. See you on the other side.
B.A.A.D A.S.S Us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D A.S.S Us. What? Who are we? We are women. Beautiful, accomplished, and divine. That's right. B.A.A.D A.S.S Us. Yeah. Who are we? We are gentlemen. Our brothers, accomplished and determined. Yet, as society see us, we must still change the narrative. Yeah, that's right. Who are we? The black community. Remember us? We are accomplished. We are determined. We are divine. We are of greatness. That's right. The black community. Badass us. Who are we? That's right. Who am I? I am the person committed to building the next community movement. What about you?
Yes, welcome back to Badass Us. That's right, that's who we are. Badass Us, Real Talk. And kind of switching up a little bit tonight, y'all. It's we always end our show with the inspirational moment, and now tonight our very own Marjorie is she's out sick, and so I am left to do the inspirational moment, Marjorie. I hope I do you justice. So here it goes. Everybody who know me know that anytime that we have a show or talk, we always have to just take a moment to give our blessings to where it lies. And today, Marjorie always come from a scripture, but I'm going to save hers until when she is here. So just thinking about the whole show and the concept of what we was talking about today, Community Speaks, I wanted to come from Building Our Communities. So that's the name and title, Building Our Communities, and it's going to be from Romans 12:4-5. So yes, for just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function. So in Christ, we, though many, form one body, and each member belong to all the others. That is it just hit home to me, and it summed up everything what an organization, coalition, leaders, community leaders are. And so in so many words, this scripture saying is better together than alone in everything. And so we never share what the scripture going to be or discuss the scripture, and we just like for it to have a natural flow. So everything you talked about tonight, you kept saying togetherness, forming a group, coming together, and that's what the Romans is all about. It's better together than alone, because each organization, as you say, or each coalition, or each member, they bring their own different function to help reach that one goal that we need to get to and accomplish. And once we do that, then we can move on to the next one. So I just wanted to say, I just thought this was a great way just to show that being together is everything, and being and because of togetherness in a community, it is God's desire. It is God's desire for us and to sign up and to show that our faith is everything. It's mature faith that bring us together. So when we come together in this sense and in order and in decency to move in His will to be a better community, we are showing mature faith. It takes mature faith, and that's what I heard you saying. Your mom had to tell you, and and you had to believe in yourself, to ask ask these things to help move this community forward. And that's what, Romans, 12, 4 and 5 is all about. It's about togetherness and having that God faith, that God-given faith, mature faith that you can do it. So I just want to say, I believe in you. I know you can do it. And you have that God-given mature faith. So so we always go around now comments, to talk about the scripture. So I want to come to you next. So
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it just summed up everything we talked about. I think that togetherness is the only way. I think that we always have to be centered in what we can do together, our common interests, our common goals, our commonalities. Because that's how we find peace in our community. Is we're all different, and we want to create space to see the beauty in that. But then we're all the same in certain ways, and we all have the same needs. And when we can find that and we can move together in that way, I think it's the most beautiful thing we can do as a community. So I really enjoyed hearing that. And I can't say enough, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and to speak to your viewers and to have such an important conversation about the community and how we move it forward together.
Yes. Rasheen?
Yeah, I mean, I always think that, anytime we work in any type of coalition, we're always stronger together. I believe like when you ball up the fist, you're stronger together. So, So thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Gave us some great insight.
Yeah, very much so. And I just like that your tone, everything about you was spiritually based.
Yes.
You made sure that was in there, and that's the premise of a good leader, because, you're going to be pushed and you're going to be challenged, but your faith and your maturity is what's going to keep you sustaining, and be able to hang in there with a good fight. Because I'm with Rasheen, she's a fighter. She's a strong leader, so we need to make sure that we get behind you and support you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we ready to ball that fits, make it tighter, for we can just be strengthened. And that's what you are. You are a breath of strength, and I feel that when I'm around you and in your presence. So you go out there, and I'm telling you. So tell everybody how we can, if we want to get involved with your campaign, or if we want to get involved with the coalition, how can we find you?
Yeah, so if you want to join PG Changemakers, you can visit our website at www.pgchangemakers.com or follow us at PG Changemakers on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And if you're interested in joining Team KO, the campaign for myself, Crystal Oriatha, for County Council District 7, you can visit my website at www.electcrystaloriatha.com. I know that last name's hard for everyone to spell. Yeah. So it's KRYSTALORIADHA. Or you can follow me at Crystal Oriatha on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes. All right. This is just great. So we still have a little more time, but I just always want to make sure that we get that information. Ain't that right, Rashi?
Yeah. Can they follow you on TikTok? Because TikTok is
not on TikTok.
Apparently all my aunts at the Super Bowl Super Bowl family gathering were on TikTok. So are you on TikTok?
I'm not cool enough for TikTok yet.
Okay.
No, we getting there because look, I am learning that Lady K Speaks got to get on TikTok, and I was just like, oh my gosh! I said, TikTok, you sure? And they was like, yeah. So this whole social media thing, TikTok, and this another one too.
Snapchat.
Yeah,
Snapchat.
And this
TikTok is really has blown up though.
Yeah, TikTok is the space now, and like it's integrated a lot. So you'll have a lot of people doing their TikTok on Instagram. So everybody's owned by the same. You can integrate all the spaces. Yeah, but I am very old school, so I am slow to get in all the social media. But I'm not on TikTok yet. Are you on TikTok?
I am not on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to be like, I'll just get on TikTok just to watch you.
After I seen my some of my elders in my family on TikTok. I don't know if that's where I want to be.
or the other thing, we need to catch up.
Right.
One of the two, you know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
if they know how to do TikTok,
know.
you know, that we can't be left out there. Yes, yes. And I tell you, so this has been great. You know, I
Yeah.
mentioned, you know, we had the Super Bowl. Everybody saw that and that exciting, you know, halftime. And then yesterday was all about, you know, that love and the balance time. And, you know, yes. And today we all about community speak. So, what a way to start the week and start wrapping it up. So, yeah. Any last final thoughts from you, Rasheen? And then we'll let our guests close us out.
No, I mean, I think, one, we appreciate you for coming on the show. You talked a lot about, you know, community involvement, coalition building, leadership, you know, building a pipeline for the future. And it's all in with communities of color, especially communities of color that has been disenfranchised for so long, that we have to empower each other and take back control.
Exactly.
Like we were saying, we're stronger together.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just leave everyone with, if I can give any piece of advice, it would be not to limit yourself. I think we think society creates boxes for us, and sometimes they do, but I think the tightest, most restrained box that we live in is the one that we create in our own minds about what we can achieve and what we can have and what we're capable of and what we're worth. And so just work every day to chip away at those walls you're building up in your own mind about what you're worth and what you can achieve, because it's once you tear those things down that you're unstoppable.
Yes, yes, and I must say, guys, I like that. You mentioned limitation earlier too, and one of the things we must continue to push beyond our limitations. Continue to push beyond our limitations, and know that you are worthy. So, all I'm going to leave you with: continue to see the vision, for you can continue to live the purpose. So you heard it here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. Real talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We see you on the other side. See you
On the
next
other
week.
side.